Welcome back. Now, let's take a trip 100 years back in time to a remarkable point in the nation's history. The 1921 census for England and Wales was made public today, giving a glimpse into a country still reeling from war and a pandemic. It's taken researchers 3 years to digitise the details of 38 million individuals, including the likes of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Captain Sir Tom Moore. Well, earlier I dived into the records with historian David Olusoga, who told me why they're so special.
Their first purpose is to create national statistics, data, but that data is made up of individual households. So it is official and national on one hand, but it's also deeply intimate. These are our family histories as well as national history. And what it does is it shows you how your family were affected by the big forces that were shaping life in Britain 100 years ago.
But of course, it was quite a turbulent time. There are similarities. They were going through a pandemic, but it was also a period when they were getting over the First World War.
It is a real moment of trauma. This is a country that's just been through the First World War. 900,000 approximately British soldiers have died of various causes. The influenza pandemic of 1918 to 1920 has just run through the world, and it's killed around 220,000 people in Britain. So over 1 million people have died recently. So this is a period very like our own, but in some ways much more fraught.
And of course, your own grandparents were in it as well. I mean, how significant is that for you personally and as a historian?
Well, what's really powerful and I think emotive about the census is that you don't just see big history. It's not the histories of kings and queens and prime ministers. It's your own family. And so, like many people, I've looked at my family and I see my grandmother, who was a girl of 10, living with her 6 siblings in a 2-bedroom house in which her father and her older brother were out of work. So that poverty that I know about from reading history books, I can see that impacting on my own family through the census.
I mean, it's just fascinating, isn't it? But there are also some other notable names in that census as well. I mean, Tolkien, Beatrix Potter. I mean, these are ways of finding out a little bit more about these people that we thought we knew already.
Obviously, I think when most people log on to the census, which they could find at Find My Past, they look up their own families or they look up the house that they live in today. But it is very tempting to put in the names of famous people, to see what's happening in the royal household, to see what's happening in the names in the households of the celebrities of the day. So, 100 years ago, just like today, we're obsessed with celebrity. So I think a lot of people will be doing that after they've looked at their own family.
Listen, David, I can't let you go without asking you about the toppling of statues, because you spoke about it a lot in the past, and I wondered your thoughts, your reaction to the verdict that came back yesterday from the Colston statue trial, the fact that we had these protesters, they were vindicated. I mean, were you expecting that?
Well, I'm a pessimist by nature, so I wasn't expecting it, but I'm very pleased about the result, because I think what that court case has recognised is that the statue as it was, the statue standing there for 125 years, was causing distress and injury and offence to thousands of people whose ancestors were enslaved by men like Edward Colston. So I think it's the first time we've actually had that acknowledged, that this statue wasn't sort of harmless, and the act of violence wasn't its toppling. The act of violence was the oppression that people felt having to live with it.
And of course, they were cleared of criminal damage. But do you think, in light of this verdict, it will encourage other activists to topple other statues in the future?
I don't think anyone's going to be encouraged by this decision. I think people are going to be encouraged that maybe we're a nation that can confront the dark as well as the light of our past. But I don't think it'll lead to a spate of statue toppling. There wasn't a spate of toppling after Colston was toppled.
Well, it's really good to have your thoughts on everything. David Olusoga, thank you very much.
Thank you.